Hi, hello, good night, good afternoon. It's 11:14 p.m. here. We have here in front of us the brand new release of the Trek Supercaliber Generation 2. Okay, this bike should be launching on August 10th. Right now is August 9th. Uh, we're going to go over every bit of detail information on this bike, what changed from Generation 1 to Generation 2, and they made some big changes to this bicycle. So when you guys are seeing this bicycle, it should be announced to consumers, and they should be racing in the men's and women's UCI championship race to figure out who's going to be the best mountain biker in the world. Now you guys are probably wondering, GC, Grant, how do you have information on this Trek stuff? Well, the answer's simple. I stole it. No, I'm just kidding. I just have this information, and we're going to go over everything for you guys as consumers to let you guys know what changed. If it's needed for you guys to make a spontaneous buy to get the new of the new, or if you're okay with your Generation 1. But as you guys can see right here, this picture looks like a very similar bike. It looks like it didn't change at all, but they made some big changes to the suspension and the frame, which we're going to talk about right now. So hopefully you guys enjoy. What I have in front of me is their top of the line Trek Supercaliber SLR 9.9 with the XX1 transmission group. What is different about the frame? Here we go. The rear shock is now changed from 60 millimeters of travel to now a total of 80 millimeters of travel. They brought up the travel to make it a little bit more of a controlling bike, giving you more confidence in going into features, bigger features, and have more faith in your suspension going over obstacles. They also changed it from a Fox rear shock now, and this is now the RockShox SID. This is their brand new ISO Strut 2 that is now proprietary to this frame. It is not backwards compatible. You cannot put the Fox onto the RockShox and vice versa. This shock only works with this bicycle model right here because of eye-to-eye lengths and also strut lengths as well. Going to the front as well, they changed the stock suspension from 100 millimeters of travel to now this bike comes stock with 110 millimeters of travel. So they took this overall bike that used to be a speed demon, 60 millimeters of travel in the back, 100 millimeter travel in the front, and they went to now the new normal trend of what everyone's doing, bigger travel, 80 millimeters of travel, which they went up specialized by 5 mils from 75 to 80, and 110 travel in the front as well. Now, Trek did say that this bike can be ran with either a 100 millimeter fork in the front or 120, but they do spec with the 110 because they feel that is best for it, which is pretty cool. This bike right here comes with the one-piece cockpit, their Trek RSL, I believe, their wheels as well, their Bond Trigger RSL wheels, and then you have their top-of-the-line XX1 transmission group set as well. One thing that they did say about this bicycle is that it is still a press-fit bottom bracket. It is not their upgraded threaded T47 BB. It is still a press-fit BB on here. So keep that in mind. You can run a BB30. They said a 30 millimeter spindle if you wanted to, but they said you did have to bring that your own bottom bracket and own spindle on there. They will be making two variations of this bicycle frame as well, the SLR and the SL. The SLR is going to be the top tier, which they have just a lighter layup of the frame, whereas the SL is going to be a little bit heavier, but they give you cheaper price points and cheaper options. What Trek really did good with this bicycle is that they were able to bring it to a pretty affordable price point for starting consumers. They have a bicycle model, I believe, the Supercaliber, which I'll show you guys in a second, that is $4,200, which is great. And then this top tier model right here as well is only $11,700. So I think Trek did a really good job on price point of this bike, especially after COVID, especially with inflation. I know it's still expensive, but this is their cream of the crop flagship bike right here. The only thing I would say this bicycle is missing is a power meter on here, stock, but neither here nor there. Here we get a little bit better look at the bicycle frame right here. Some quick tidbits of information for you guys. The frame has a maximum tire clearance of 2.4. On this RSL right here, this top of the line, their SLR model, this fork can only take up to a 2.35 tire, so this will be the maximum tire size on this bicycle right here. For the rear rotor as well, for the frame itself, the rear can only take up to a minimum or maximum rear rotor of 160 millimeters, so you cannot change it down to 140 and you cannot put it up to a 180. They believe that this rotor size is best for this bike and you cannot change it to any means possible. They will also offer a frame variation of this bicycle where you can only buy the RSL frame. They're not going to be selling, the SLR frame. They're not going to be selling the SL frame. That frame will be $4,000 and it'll come in a different color as well. This bicycle is going to come in 3 different colors, but they have a ton of different models, all the way ranging from an XTR lineup, an XT lineup, an XO1 transmission, a GX transmission. So they have they have a crap ton of price points for every bit of consumer out there, which is very nice. The one thing I do like about Trek on this model specifically that I think Specialized missed a boat on, which I wish they would have done, is on this model they still offer the remote lockout into the frame, which it seems like a lot more people are liking. It seems like a lot more people are going away from this proprietary stuff where every single company says they have their own thing. And people just want plain simple, they want either an open shock or a lockout shock that they can control at their leisure for times where they want. You see Scott with the twin lock, which is really doing well. I mean, they have Nino winning almost every damn race out there. Oh, every damn world championship, UCI men's championship out there. So, and just a lot more customers that I see in my situation as well. People really enjoying that lockout switch on there, which is very nice. Here is a closer look up at the RockShox Sid new ISO strut. This is 80 millimeters of travel. They said they did a little bit better job of laser engraving sag setup on here, so that way you can figure out what kind of sag setup you want to run on your shock. They basically just set up the sag any kind of which way. They have numbered or numerized rebound adjustment clicks on there, so that way you're not guessing which rebound position you're in. So that way it makes it a little bit easier for setup. And like I mentioned before, this is the only shock that is available for this bike. This shock comes spec'd on their top tier bikes all the way down to a $4,200 bicycle as well. They only make one version of the shock, so you're not getting duped if you do order a lower tier bike. You're still getting a Sid, RockShox Sid Lux rear shock with a remote lockout on there, which is very, very nice. A little bit more tidbit information here. Like I mentioned before, the bottom bracket is a press fit bottom bracket, a press fit 92 bottom bracket. I really think they should have went threaded, seeing that they had such great success with their Armada and also their Madone. And it seems like everyone else in the industry is going press fit, but I'm sorry, threaded. Dyslexia. But I got a feeling they know what they're doing. I don't. But that's just my little bit of tidbit information. The chainring size on here, the minimum that you can have on here is a 30. The maximum chainring size you can have on this thing is a 38 tooth chainring on here. It is a 55 millimeter chain line, so your choice on chainring size. Okay, all right. Jeez, guys, give me a break. And now they do have some update to the geometries as well from the Gen 2 to Gen 1. It's not just all shocks on here. They said that the geometry has been updated with a slightly longer reach and slacker head tube. So again, like I said, going with that whole trend of the industry of just having a little bit more of a confident travel bike going into features. Everything used to be so upright, rigid, boom, balls to the wall, 60, 100 millimeter travel. Now they want to have a little bit more comfort. They want to have a little bit more suspension, a little bit more comfortability going into corners, going into features, and just give you that confidence going into something like that. So that way you're not worried about the bike bucking you off or maybe not having enough suspension for a certain feature. And then also, like I mentioned before, they did make the frame sets with the two different ones, the SLR and also the SL. The frames look identical. However, the SLR frame has a lighter carbon layup and does not have an internal cable routing guide on the main frame. There's also a new RockShox Sid Luck ISO strut on all models. And if you were wondering, they just mentioned this, you can fit 2 water bottles, one on the down tube, one on the C tube, on all sides of the bikes across the board, small, medium, large, XL as well. And just a quick little show of this bike right here. This is their cheapest or entry-level bike into the category. This will be the Supercaliber SL bicycle. This thing is $4,200. You come with a dropper post. You get the same shock as you get on the top-tier bike. You're getting a RockShox basic fork on here, 110 millimeters of travel. But it's a bike that literally is a good price point. That's where I think Specialized did miss the ball on that. You got to have price point options. You see a bike that pros are riding. Maybe a consumer doesn't have that $8,000. $4,000 seems a little bit more achievable. Maybe they can get a credit card. Maybe they get financing on there. I think they did a really good job with this price point because I think this bike will be a really good seller because it had such great success with the Generation 1. Will it be enough for people to go ahead and change from the Generation 1 to the Generation 2? Who knows? I know a lot of people are super fanboys of the Fox suspension, and a lot of people do not like when companies make the change from Fox to RockShox. But we'll have to see how this plays out in the future, and we'll have to just keep this noted. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys again so much for watching. My mouth hurts really bad. But if you guys have any questions, like I said before, let me know down in the comment section below, and I'll talk to you guys another day. It's 11:26. I'm going to bed. Bye.